Hi everyone! Today we're going to talk about rounding to the nearest 10 and 100. There are lots of different ways that we can find the nearest 10 and the nearest 100. Some people like to use number lines, some people like to use the high five rule, and some people like to use different little diagrams. So I'm going to give you some of the examples and you can figure out which one you like using best. This is what we call the rounding coaster. And it's a really nice little visual for working out numbers, especially to the nearest 10. So we're going to begin with the number 34. And we know the station lower than 34, the tens family, will be 30, and the higher station will be 40. Our number is here, 34. And if we imagine it as a carriage on a roller coaster, if the carriage were to stop, then the carriage would automatically reverse back down and land at 30. So when we round 34 to the nearest 10, the answer is 30. Some people prefer using number lines, so this example is 75 to the nearest 10. So I've positioned 75 on the number line. We have to, because we're working to the nearest 10, we have to think what is the tens family number below 75 and the tens family number above 75. And we know that to be 70 and 80. So if we look at where 75, this is where our high five rule comes in. The units value in this number is a 5, therefore we have to go high. Now this time we're looking to the nearest 100. 100 has 2 zeros, so the station numbers also have to have 2 zeros. And we know that it's 200, and the station number that is higher than 241 is 300. Then we have to work out the midpoint. So what number is halfway between 200 and 300? And we know that that is 250. In this example, when we're rounding to the nearest 100, it's the tens number that we use for high five rule for. So if the number is 250, because there's 5 tens in that number, it will round up to 300. And we know that 241 would be somewhere around here. So because there's a 4 in the tens here, we know that we must round down. So the answer is 200. Looking at that on the number line, if we want to round the number 659 to the nearest 100, we have to think what is the 100 number on the lower side and the 100 number on the upper side. Because we're rounding to the nearest 100, it must have 2 zeros. So the number below, the hundreds number below 659 is 600, and the hundreds number above 659 will be 700. So we can plot those on our number line, and our midpoint will be 650. There's our high five number. If it's 650 or above, we will round up. Our 659 will live somewhere about here, therefore it's on the upper side. Our number has 5 tens, so it's high five, so we will round to 700. Moving into Key Stage 2, it gets slightly trickier. Children might be challenged to round a 3-digit number to the nearest 10. If we're rounding to the nearest 10, then we only look at the numbers or the digits within the tens and units. Round 49 to the nearest 10, obviously that would be 50. And then we just drop the other digits in place, so the answer is 350. You may have a number in the thousands, and you may be asked to round it to the nearest 10. Only considering the tens and units, it would be 10, and then again we just simply drop the other two digits into place, and that is our answer. We're in the thousands, rounding it to the nearest hundred. We round that number, 426, we round it to the nearest hundred. We know that to be 400. And then we drop the other 1,000 back in again. So the answer is 6,400. And just to finish, we're going to take the number 4,652 and show you how rounding it in the three different ways makes three different answers. Just before I go, I want to highlight a few little exceptions to the rule, particularly whenever rounding to the nearest hundred or the nearest 10. So if we have 4,952 and we want to round it to the nearest hundred, we know we're considering the last three digits. If we round 952 to the nearest hundred, we know that that will be 1,000, because we're looking at the 5 tens, so we round up to 1,000. Then all we do is we take the 4, just like we did earlier, we drop it down, but we already have 1 in the thousands, so it is added on, so the answer is 5,000. If we have 4,697 to the nearest 10, again we're considering just the tens and units in this case, so we round 97 to the nearest 10, we know that to be 100, but when we drop our 6 down, into our hundred space, that is going to have to become a 7, and the 4,000 just drops straight down, so the answer is 4,700. I hope this has helped, and it is difficult, it is tricky at times, particularly in Key Stage 2, but if we remember the rules, we can't go too far wrong. Chat soon, bye!